points. S&P 500 is up 164 points, and the NASDAQ is up 657 points. For more money news, visit the Business Center at KTAR.com.
If you wear glasses or contacts, but now you need reading glasses or bifocals, it's time to learn about refractive lens exchange from K2 Vision. Hey, this is Jim Sharp. Join me and learn about the incredible RLE procedure during K2 Vision's free live webinar this Thursday at noon. It's a perfect opportunity to meet Doctors Kopstein and King, two of the most experienced eye surgeons in North America. With over 150,000 procedures, they know when RLE is right for you. And they'll answer your questions like, what is refractive lens exchange and who's a good candidate? How is RLE different from LASIK and EVO ICL? Why no cataracts after RLE? How long is the procedure and recovery? Plus, they'll answer a lot more. Join me and the doctors for this free live webinar this Thursday at noon. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts. Register now at k2visionrle.com. That's k2visionrle.com.
When you lose someone you love, your world stops. The last thing you should face is a maze of legal and tax complexities tied to multiple bank accounts, life insurance policies, annuities, unclaimed or hidden assets, and a myriad of state legalities that may require probate action. At Enterprise Estates Advisors, we're true fiduciaries. That means we work for your family, and we focus on providing the needed services so you don't have to worry. We work closely with the executors so they understand our process, agree to a timeline, and guide us through the disbursement. Our goal is to provide your family with an efficient process that can bring an estate to close in half the normal time. Call us when you experience a loss in your family. Enterprise Estates Advisors, where asset recovery is our promise to you. Give us a call at 623-387-3141. That's 623-387-3141. Or find us online at enterpriseestatesadvisors.com to learn more.
Happy Wednesday, and the face-off kicks off at 5 as the on-again, off-again war with Iran continues. Why is this starting to feel like a start of a quagmire? The face-off exclusively on Outspoken at 5, on air, online, and on the KTAR YouTube channel.
All right, one of the things that we have been talking about here is the possibility of an ICE facility in Surprise. The mayor joined us a while ago to talk about the concerns that they had, and the concerns were definitely a legitimate concern coming from the city of Surprise, which was they weren't really consulted about this in the beginning and what it was going to look like and what it was going to entail. And as the mayor said on the show, that if something happens at that facility, which had happened, somebody had thrown a propane tank through a window at the building, the FBI ultimately took over the investigation, but the first responders were Surprise Police and Fire. So the conversation with public safety and the first responder community and the city council, the mayor also said later on at another time that they had had good conversations with ICE. And so now there are people upset that this project at some level may be moving forward. So the headline, Serena O'Sullivan in our news department, KTAR.com, writes the story, Democratic state lawmakers say Surprise ICE facility should be stopped at all costs. I wouldn't go that far. But I do understand why you would be concerned about a facility, a detention facility, jail, whatever you want to call it, is in the middle of a very residential part of town. That is a concern for a lot of people. Normally, if you look at where the jails are, the Maricopa County jails are down in a part of town where they've been for years and years and years and years, and it's not near a ton of residences. When we have built the Perryville prison, which is the closest one to Metro. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's a juvenile prison that's up on the I-17 near Happy Valley Road. But 30 years ago, that was out in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing up there. Now it's kind of grown in. Will they end up moving those facilities? Perryville was out in the West Valley, is out in the West Valley, and Perryville prison was out in the middle of nowhere. Did I ever tell you, Patricia, my Perryville story, what happened to me?
I don't think you have.
So Perryville has been a couple of different things. It's been an all-women's prison. There's been 2 separate facilities for men and women on that property, but I believe it's all women now. So years ago, back in my heyday as a electrician, I was working for a company, and there used to be a place called Goodyear Marketplace that was built, and it was a swap meet out there.
Okay.
So we did the electric for the swap meet. And when you're getting ready to build something, you install something called a temporary pole or a T-pole, and it's temporary power. So the power company hooks up to the pole so that you have the power you need to build the building.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So I was out there on the south side of the I-10, and I was putting in the temporary pole, post hole diggers and the stuff you need to do to put the pole in the ground. And this prison vehicle goes driving by me real slow. And I'm like, what did I do? You know, it was I was in a van. I was in a work van. So about a minute and a half later, they come by again. So finally, they get out of the vehicle and they come over to me and they asked me what I was doing. And I said, we're getting ready to build something here.
I'm working.
You know. And they said, we had a prisoner escape last night or early this morning, whatever. Do you mind if we look in your van to make sure they're not hiding in your van?
Oh, my God.
And I knew they weren't because I'd been working out of the van all morning. And they was a nice way of saying, we want to make sure you're not hiding a prisoner, you know?
In broad daylight.
Right. So they went and looked in the van. There was no prisoner there. But this, again, was back at a time when that was a very unpopulated area. Mm-hmm. Verrado hadn't been built. My point is, generally speaking, detention facilities are not built in populated areas, generally speaking. The idea of an ICE detention facility on what used to be a jail or a prison in Marana, that makes perfect sense to me.
Right.
Does this need to be, I understand if it goes in and the city finds out there's really not much of a problem, fair enough. But if you owned a house near that, wouldn't you be concerned?
Yes. I'd want to know what's going on and why and how and
see, and I don't think it's going to be a danger. All of this stuff of the over the top is no. The conversation is, I own a house here.
It's going to be inconvenient.
Yeah.
It's going to drop
my kids ride their bikes around here. Yeah. We don't want protesters in the neighborhood. We don't want to deal with that stuff. We live in these neighborhoods. That would be my argument.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be disaster and danger, and it would just be, why does it need to be here? There's plenty of space.
Is it because it's already built?
Well, where you and I have been recently, every year we are out at Wildlife World Zoo.
Yes.
303 in Northern. There are I would imagine millions, if not, but certainly hundreds of thousands of square feet of warehouse space out there that is still in a pretty much unpopulated area.
Yeah, it's pretty industrial.
Why not look at something like that? So I understand from the perspective of the residents, because arrests are still happening. They're still making arrests of criminals, and they're going to be in these facilities a short time. But I wonder if ultimately ICE will listen and kind of acquiesce, or because they've got this building, are they just going to keep moving forward? There has obviously been breaking news about what's happening in the Middle East. We've gotten some confirmation as the international media is now reporting that the Strait of Hormuz has been reclosed because of Israel's attacks on Hezbollah. They say it violated that. We're going to get to it in a moment. But I want to remind all of you that Friday morning, Patricia and I are going to be at Pat's Run. That happens on Saturday, but Friday is the packet pickup day. So if you're heading out to Pat's Run to pick up your packets, come say hello to us at the table. We'll be there all morning long. We'll be right out in front of Mountain America Stadium. You will be able to see us at the big desk. So please come and say hello. Coming up in a moment, an update on the Middle East. Stick around.
Rosie on the house.
Every Arizona homeowner's best friend for over 30 years. Saturday mornings 8 till 11 on KTAR News 92.3 FM and the KTAR News app.
Is there a tougher gig than being a roof in Arizona, right? Paul Calvisi here, the big heat, monsoon storms. No one knows that better. No one does it better than America Roofing. For real, America Roofing just named Arizona's Roofing Contractor of the Year. It's the very roof over our heads. Don't mess with the rest. You want the best. America Roofing. A+ rated with a Better Business Bureau, and save 12% at AmericaRoofingCo.com. Repair, replace, home or business, AmericaRoofingCo.com.
If you got a mortgage in the last 3 years, listen up. It's Gatos for Lund Mortgage. Mortgage rates have dropped considerably since then, so now could be a great time to consider refinancing and saving money. My friends at Lund Mortgage track interest rates daily, so they can help you act fast and save big. Just send an email to ratewatch@lundmortgage.com. They'll monitor the market for you and alert you when it's the right time to refinance. Email ratewatch@lundmortgage.com and start saving, and tell them Gatos sent you.
We get it. A meal shouldn't cost you nearly $20. And we agree. At Venezia's Pizzeria, lunch or dinner for under $10 is still a thing. And for an even sweeter deal, stop in and grab a Slice Rewards card. Get a stamp for every qualifying Slice special. 10 visits, 1 free qualifying special. Simple. And every Tuesday, we double your stamps. That's your free pizza twice as fast. Venezia's Pizzeria, a family tradition with great rewards.
Is your financial advisor managing your risk or just a spreadsheet? Hi, I'm Jeff Jr., founder of Trajan Wealth. Many financial advisors rely on target date funds, which are one-size-fits-all portfolios that don't know your name, your family, or your goals. And that passive management can leave you dangerously exposed. At Trajan, we look at the whole picture, not just the stocks everyone else buys, but the private market opportunities most advisors ignore. And as fiduciaries, we build a strategy around you, coordinating your investments, tax strategy, and estate into one cohesive plan. Your financial life deserves more than just a generic portfolio. Real planning isn't a stack of statements. It's the confidence of knowing where your income will come from for the next 30 years. Good enough isn't good enough for your family. It's time for a change. Schedule your complimentary consultation today.
Call Trajan today at 480-800-0100. That's 480-800-0100.
Advisory services through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. Private equity investments require accreditation. Other services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Hey, basketball fans, Tom Chambers here reminding you that just like in a game, you need a solid defense for your home. And that starts with a reliable roof from Right Way Roofing. Hey, Lori, as owner of Right Way Roofing, what sets you apart from the competition?
Our team tackles any roofing challenge, from shingles to tile to foam roofing. We'll make sure your roof wins against the toughest opponents: rain, wind, and even those scorching summer days.
Make Right Way Roofing your MVP.
We're Right Way Roofing and we do it right. We'll always keep you watertight.
Hey, Dave Ramsey here from my friends at Window World. With the Arizona weather heating up, it's good to know that Window World windows are specifically made for the harsh Arizona climate. Right now, you can lock in 7 large premium vinyl sliding windows, all with energy-efficient solar zone sun shield glass, tax included, for one all-in upfront price of only $5,989. And that price includes Window World's noise reduction upgrade. Plus, you can save an additional $100 off any new patio or entry door. Best of all, their certified installers can complete most projects in just one day. See for yourself why nearly half of all new Window World customers come from happy referrals. So don't wait for summer. Schedule your free in-home estimate today at windowworldphoenix.com. Window World, simply the best for definitely less.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. With fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
KTAR News now.
Good morning. It's 10:31. I'm Patricia Valencia.
A capital V military victory.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is celebrating a 2-week ceasefire agreement in Iran following what he's calling a complete and total military victory.
The agreement comes as the clock ticked down toward yesterday's deadline imposed by President Trump, where he promised to wipe out a civilization if an agreement wasn't made. While both sides are posturing over who gave in to whose demands, Secretary Hegseth says it was the military might of the U.S. that was able to force Iran into negotiations.
Iran ultimately understood their ability, their future, to produce, to generate power, to fuel their terrorist regime was in our hands, was in President Trump's hands. That's why they came to the table.
Hegseth adds Operation Epic Fury achieved all of its objectives despite only using a fraction of the country's total military power. Colton Krolak, KTAR News.
Yesterday, when the U.S. and Iran agreed on a 2-week ceasefire, the stock market responded immediately, and today the stock market is still feeling the effects. S&P has leaped 2.4%, a Dow Jones average jumped 1,300 points, and the NASDAQ toggling up to 3%. Oil prices are also returning to normal, with the cost per barrel plunging back toward $90. Arizona Senator Mark Kelly calling President Trump not a serious person after yesterday's delay in bombs in Iran for negotiations. Speaking with MS Now after the announcement, Kelly said of U.S. service members,
"We have incredibly professional people in the military, and my hope would be that if the Secretary of Defense, not Secretary of War, the Secretary of Defense were to order them to do something that was unlawful, that they would reject it."
He says despite the president's earlier comments of planning to, quote, end a civilization, the 25th Amendment to remove Trump likely wouldn't have enough support in Congress. An out-of-state college student is accused of starting a wildfire in northern Arizona earlier this week. The Yavapai County Sheriff's Office says 22-year-old from Louisiana was part of a rock climbing training group in Prescott when the flames broke out. And they say the suspect was burning cottonwood seeds out of curiosity when the fire quickly spread.
KTAR News. Water Watch.
The Central Arizona Project is looking into purchasing desalination water, but they need to figure out an exchange credit system first.
Desalination is the process of taking ocean water and removing the salt. CAP Assistant General Manager over Water Policy Patrick Dent says they were in talks with Mexico, but that project has since stalled.
The most active thing that we had participated in, I'll say recent years, is as part of our conversations with Mexico, looking at a desalination option in the Sierra Cortez.
There's also a desalination plant in Carlsbad CAP could eventually purchase water from, but need to figure out a water exchange credit system first. Heidi Hommel, KTAR News.
You can read more water news at KTAR.com. Now let's check on traffic from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. Look for slowing in the intersection from a crash at 32nd Street and Cactus. Also, a new crash on the west side near 95th Avenue and Camelback. This traffic update is brought to you by Revival Psychiatry. From anxiety to everyday burnout, compassionate support is ready when you are. Visit revivalpsych.com to book your appointment today. Sunny skies and a high of 97. We're going to see sun tomorrow and Friday as well. Highs in the mid-90s, 82 degrees right now in Laveen. A perfect day to find your next home. See homes 1 to 4 days before MLS or Zillow at seehomesfirst.com. I'm Patricia Valencia on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Happy Wednesday, and the face-off kicks off at 5 as the on-again, off-again war with Iran continues. Why is this starting to feel like a start of a quagmire? The face-off exclusively on Outspoken at 5, on air, online, and on the KTAR YouTube channel.
As you heard the breaking news earlier this morning, another reason why you should be downloading the KTAR News app. When news breaks, you will be notified. If it's something happening on air, you can hear it on your device. If it's happening online, it will direct you to the story on the website. But the breaking news has been that the Iranians have closed the Strait of Hormuz because they say that the Israelis violated the ceasefire by attacking Lebanon and continuing the fight with Hezbollah. The Israelis say that they went and hit one of the military leaders in Hezbollah earlier today. So I'm going to read this very quickly. It says Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz again in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. The closure comes less than 24 hours after the Iran reportedly agreed to a ceasefire deal. So far, and I'm a little not confused by this, but I'm watching very closely. WTI oil prices, or West Texas Intermediate, is still at about $73 a barrel. It is down $2 from before, but significantly from where it was yesterday, although the price of it is creeping up just a little bit. Brent crude oil trading at about $95.56, jumping up a little bit as well, but the stock market continues to be very, very good. Is that going to change, and how does the U.S. respond? There are going to be two possibilities of a response from the U.S., in my opinion. One is going to be that the White House is going to announce that if they don't reopen the strait immediately, that we are going to restart attacks on Iran, or there may be conversations going on the other side of this, which would be, will the Israelis agree to stop the attacks in Lebanon and stop the war with Hezbollah, as long as Hezbollah agrees to the same thing? that this 2-week ceasefire will be across the Middle East. We also know that the Iranians have been lobbing some of their munitions at some of their neighbors. So what will happen? That's going to be the conversation of what direction does this go? And anybody that wants to call this a failure, which is exactly what they're going to say, I guarantee you, we will wait and see how this is handled by the White House. Right now, I'm kind of watching on the monitors in here. The press secretary for the White House is saying it's completely unacceptable for Iran to reclose the Hormuz Strait. So that's the stance of the White House. But will there be further negotiations? If anybody thought that this was going to be an easy transition, it isn't. But I do know this, that the Iranians do not want to be hit anymore because they're the ones that blinked and were agreed to a ceasefire. Continuing what they're doing and closing the strait. And by the way, the closure was this, that radio messages were delivered to oil tankers that were in the strait, that if they tried to navigate the strait, they would be attacked and they would be sunk. That was what the message was. So there has been a freezing of this. The Iranian Navy, what's left of it, has been making those statements. So civilian crafts, civilian ships are being targeted once again. At some point, the rest of the world has to line up and say, there's been a ceasefire negotiated, stick to the ceasefire, allow commerce to continue or restart. If you don't, the world lines up against you. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. It should. And will it? Will this be the beginning of a peace process? I would not. And I think the reason why the Iranians, outside of the people inside in American politics who said that the strong words from the president had nothing to do with this agreement, I think it had everything to do with this agreement. That the Iranians believed that there was going to be severe damage and an onslaught like they haven't seen if they didn't continue, if they didn't open up the strait and agree to a ceasefire. So are they testing the limits? Because that's generally what happens. They're testing the resolve of the U.S. So what happens next? And so the president is already given an order, and he has said, this is what our demands are. And will they restart? If Iran is going to say, we're going back on our word because of what Israel did, will the U.S. say, well, you committed to us that you are going to reopen this, open it back up, or we are going to start with our plan from last night? If that's the case, we'll see soon. This is anybody that thought that this was going to be over and done with. It just isn't. It never is, especially with a nation like this. They have done this in the past, and they have gone back on their word time after time after time after time, because we've used diplomacy. And diplomacy with terrorists doesn't work. Diplomacy, if you're in law enforcement, I think this is a fair analogy. If you're in local law enforcement, there is a certain element, and the first thing that comes to mind for me are the gangs, and I'm talking about the real gangs, the violent, the MS-13 gangs, the Mexican mafia, those gangs that are prone to such horrifying terroristic violence, to take over neighborhoods and to keep people quiet. You don't deal with them rationally. They lie when the truth will do. They are violent, and the only thing they understand sometimes is the threat of more violence. The one instinct they possess is self-preservation. Your life doesn't matter, but theirs does. So will the White House give them the ultimatum that if it's not opened back up and opened back up quickly, that we are going to continue with our plan and it's going to be very, very bad? I hope that doesn't happen. I would really like for the ceasefire to stay in place and for both sides to have conversations of how this would end and end peacefully. Get commerce back on track. I mentioned earlier, if you look at what's happening, the NASDAQ is up 2.88% or almost 3%, almost 2.5% on the S&P, and 2.6% on the Dow. Oil prices have dropped dramatically. Yesterday, WTI, or West Texas Intermediate, was trading at over $116 per barrel. It was as low as $72 today. So hopefully this will maintain this moving forward. And the way the U.S. responds to this might be what the Iranians' ace in the hole is in their minds. If the American people see that this happened and they get angry at the administration, I don't know the answers. I'm just looking at the issues and what's going on. And I would say to you that the resolve now more than ever is got to be on the American side, that we are going to stay the course, that we want peace, that we want the ceasefire, but you got to open the strait. You got to allow commerce. And I think the world, now is the time for the NATO countries to line up with the U.S. and join them in one voice and say, we want the strait opened, and we are going to open it at any cost. So you better join with the rest of the world, or you will be ostracized like you have in the past. I hope that's the message that gets sent. Very quickly, I want to mention the Amazing Arizonans podcast is available. We talked to our own Becky Lynn, who was a recent inductee into the Arizona Media Association Hall of Fame. It is such a fun conversation about her 36-year career right here in the Valley. It's an incredible conversation we've had with her. Available on the KTAR YouTube channel, KTAR.com, the app, or anywhere you download podcasts. What we'll do here in a moment is we're going to shift gears. We're going to talk a little bit about where your drugs come from. Where do we get our medications? We'll talk about that next.
Amazing Arizonans, the podcast where Mike Broomhead talks with some of our incredible Arizona people, like chef and TV host Mark Tarbell, Olympic gold medalist Amy Van Dyken, Pinal County Sheriff's Deputy Frank Slope, golfer Tom Lehman, former Arizona Governor Fife Symington. Amazing Arizonans, presented by Resolution Copper. Like and subscribe to it where you get your podcasts. Watch Amazing Arizonans on YouTube or go to KTAR.com and click on podcasts.
I'm Doug Hopkins with My Home Group and DougHopkins.com. If you're looking to sell your house and want the convenience of a guaranteed cash offer, I'd be honored if you gave us a try. I've been working in Valley real estate for 25 years and have purchased over 18,000 homes during that time. DougHopkins.com offers you peace of mind while selling your house. Since I'm paying you cash, there are no banks involved, no closing costs, no expensive real estate commissions, and you can sell your house in as-is condition with no repairs. I take care of everything. DougHopkins.com will give you an honest cash offer for your house. We'll put it in writing and we'll guarantee it. We're not going to bait and switch you by offering a high amount contingent upon inspections. Then down the road, come back and try to renegotiate to a lower price. The price I offer the first time is the price I'll pay, and I'll guarantee it with a $5,000 non-refundable security deposit. It's as simple as that. Just go to DougHopkins.com for your free no-obligation cash offer 24 hours a day, or call 1-800-SELL-NOW. That's 1-800-SELL-NOW.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
I know that hiring can be challenging. You need someone to match your role perfectly. Well, now you can meet them fast on ZipRecruiter.
Build your team, build it sooner. Meet your match on ZipRecruiter.
Just head to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try it for free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Meet your match on ZipRecruiter. Try it free.
Hi, I'm Sherry with LifeSource Water. Every day begins and ends with water. It's in your coffee, your child's bath, the glass on your nightstand. It's the one thing your family uses constantly, yet most people never question it. A LifeSource whole house system treats every drop of your water, giving your family clean, conditioned water from every tap. Don't miss our free installation special. Call our local factory at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit LifeSourceWater.com. Offer ends this month.
Warranty limitations apply.
Meet Morgan Jones. Morgan is about to step into a world unknown to most, thanks to Progressive's Renters Insurance, a place of fresh linens and turn-down service. You see, Morgan temporarily vacated her apartment and has gone to a hotel because a pipe burst in her apartment. A pipe that made her sense of reality and apartment ceiling all come crashing down. Luckily, Morgan checked into Progressive's Protection Zone. Get a quote at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers.
When your check engine light comes on, do you see a repair bill or do you see peace of mind? For 20 years, CarShield's been the name America trusts to help keep you on the road. While other companies stop covering you when your car gets older, CarShield offers protection plans up to 200,000 miles. With over $1 billion in claims paid, we don't just promise protection, we deliver it. Don't let a breakdown break your budget. Get the flexible month-to-month coverage you deserve. Go to CarShield.com. That's CarShield.com today.
Your home would already be paid off if you had reached out to Life Changer Loan the first time you heard these ads. Instead, you pretend to love your low rate, even though you have 25 years left of mortgage payments. Stop the insanity. Take the time to learn about a Life Changer Loan and why we have all 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. This is not magic. It's just math. So check us out at lifechangerloan.com. That's lifechangerloan.com.
Arizona Mortgage Broker number MB1002031, NMLS number 1863775. Life Changer Loan Corp is an equal housing lender.
KTAR News Flash.
At 10:48, I'm Patricia Valencia. This is what you need to know right now. Pentagon officials are taking a victory lap over the latest developments in Iran. Just hours before his self-imposed deadline yesterday, President Trump announced that he called a 2-week ceasefire with the Iranians. And just earlier today, according to Iranian state media, Iran has closed the Strait of Hormuz in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. And the rapper formerly known as Kanye West has been barred from entering the UK after backlash over Ye's history of anti-Semitic remarks. Ye's travel authorization has been blocked by the UK government on the grounds that his presence would not be, quote, conducive to the public good. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
You know, nothing changes the feel of your home like a fresh coat of paint, inside or out. And that's why I trust the pros at Arizona Painting Company. Right now, they're making it even easier to get started with 15% off when you mention Gatos. Their crews are quick, clean, and the quality is outstanding. So if your home's ready for a refresh, don't wait. Text PAINT to 620-620, and the Arizona Painting Company will take great care of you. That's PAINT to 620-620. The Arizona Painting Company. Tell them Gatos sent you.
Message and data rates may apply. For 42 years, Dolphin Pools has delivered affordable luxury, the kind of backyard paradise that turns every day into a vacation. And now, with our brand new surprise showroom, it's easier than ever to bring your dream to life. Dolphin Pools is Arizona's #1 rated pool builder on Google and Yelp, and we're Google guaranteed. Buy now and swim this summer in the pool of your dreams. The hot Arizona days are coming fast. Visit dolphinpools.us and build your paradise today.
KTAR Breaking News Alert.
This just into the KTAR News Center. The White House is demanding Iran reopen the Strait of Hormuz immediately after Iran says it closed the waterway over continuing Israeli attacks on Lebanon. U.S. President Donald Trump told PBS NewsHour Lebanon was not included in the deal because of the Lebanese militant Hezbollah group. When asked about Israelis' latest strikes, he said that's a separate skirmish. Meanwhile, the White House says VP J.D. Vance will lead the U.S. negotiating team in Ismailia talks aimed at finding permanent end to the war. You can get breaking news notifications right to your phone by downloading the KTAR News app. And for more, go to KTAR.com.
Don't miss out on some of the biggest matchups of the 2026 season when the Blue Jays, Mets, and Dodgers visit Chase Field. Get your tickets today at dbacks.com.
Does our ridiculously hotter than normal spring equal a bad summer for wildfires? This is Jim Sharp. Join LaDonna Harvey and me for Arizona's Morning News, 5 to 8 a.m. on the KTAR YouTube channel or on your way to work on 92.3 FM.
The silver lining on the very, very dark cloud that was COVID-19 when it hit in 2020 was we learned a lot of lessons. Part of it had to do with chip manufacturing. I think it's one of the major reasons why we've seen such a rapid growth of TSMC and Intel and others in that industry, realizing that manufacturing the products that we need, a lot of it needs to be done domestically for economic safety, but also for national security. I think was a big part of it. The other part of it was where we get our medications, because when COVID hit and that the largest seaport on the planet in China was shut down for weeks, there were ships that were backed up, and the concern about us getting antibiotics and the medications we take. So here's a headline that's recent, which is, surprising to me that we haven't really learned our lesson. Chinese companies now dominate drug discovery projected to amount to 35% of new drug approvals by 2040. So policymakers, I'm going to read very quickly. Policymakers have been aware of the U.S. vulnerability to China's supply chain dominance for decades and have contemplated the possibility of Beijing weaponizing its control by throttling exports to the United States. So we have done this over time. Our economy has morphed, and we have manufacturing of so many things has been exported to other parts of the world. Trying to bring manufacturing back to the U.S., I think, is a very, very important thing for us to do. But it's also going to take us with the training of our workforce. Because before you can manufacture pharmaceuticals, you need buildings to do that from. And you're going to need people to build those buildings. You're going to need people to remodel those buildings. If you look around town at the construction that's happening, cranes as far as the eye can see, we have got multiple industries that are being built here. The issue we have had, housing has been one of them because we don't have the workforce to build the houses. Housing, when you're a tradesperson building houses, you're at the lower end of the economic scale for whatever reason that is. Because I can just from my industry, from being an electrician, generally speaking, residential electricians make a little bit less than commercial electricians that make a little bit less than industrial electricians. And the high-tech work and some of the more advanced skills that are necessary for commercial and industrial work is why people gravitate toward those industries where they can. With the need for workforces, the training is different. So this is not something that I think should be taken lightly. This I found interesting, Patricia. The drug pricing is lowered for GLP-1 and fertility medication. So I like the idea. The Medicare director credits the administration, saying new initiatives are easing prescription costs. We have talked about our birth rates being so low here, that part of the issue with the economy, with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security going broke faster, is that we are getting much older faster and we're not producing children. This has got to be a big part of the future, right?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely going to make a difference.
It should.
It should in our, I don't know, maybe even like diabetes, stuff like that in the future.
I don't want to get into the political conversation that has to do with abortion because we've talked about it at length. But in 2025, this number seemed a little high to me, but it's in my mind, I think it's all relative. If I were to say to you, how many abortions do you think happened in the U.S. in 2025, what would you consider to be a high number?
In 2025 alone?
Mm-hmm.
A high number? I don't even know where to begin with that. I don't even know idea on numbers on abortions.
Right. I wouldn't either. But when I read the number, it struck me as high.
What was it?
I'll tell you in a minute. Paul, do you want to take a guess? Do you want to take a guess at the number, or do you not want to guess?
I don't think I want to guess on this
Okay.
one.
Yeah, I
all
don't
right.
know.
There were 434,450 abortions in America last year.
And I was going to say like 1 million.
Yeah, and see, for me, I would have guessed 150 or 200,000.
It was probably much.
So getting into the right to life conversation, I mean, I am unapologetically pro-life personally. I'm not going to drag you guys into that conversation, but here we are in our country where we're not having enough children. It is hurting our economy. Families say they can't afford children. I get all of that, but we're not having children. So we've got now, it's less expensive for fertility drugs. We know we need more children, and yet we're aborting almost 500,000 children in 1 year. No matter what your stance is on abortion, pro-life, pro-choice, that's a staggering number.
It is.
That is a big number.
And I don't know if this is dumb or not, but it might go hand in hand to have, women healthier, losing weight on GLP-1 drugs, and then fertility drugs as well, hand in hand.
Well, and guys too.
Well, yeah, that too, but it does take a lot for a woman's body to become pregnant. You have to be healthy. And
No, you're right. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about schools, and we are going to talk about the city of Phoenix and big plans in the final hour of the show. Stick around.
You bought an RV, and you got an automatic discount from Progressive by bundling it with your home or auto insurance. That's great, but a serious word of warning every RVer should heed. You don't need to talk about things like dry weight or dump stations. And you don't need one of those expensive water filter straws either. Because the most extreme thing most RVers encounter is a campsite without hookups. So just enjoy yourself. And Progressive's automatic discount when you bundle your RV, boat, or motorcycle with your home or auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55. But unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As a procurement manager for a hospital system, she keeps every facility in her network stocked and ready. That's why she counts on Grainger to be her single source for thousands of products, from disinfectants to lighting, air filters, and more. And with fast, dependable delivery, Grainger helps her keep every facility stocked, safe, and running smoothly. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix.
Tune into The Truth About Money with Bruce Weinstein and Tim Travis.
We hand select each and every security in the portfolio as opposed to kind of the more cookie cutter approaches that a lot of the larger firms will take.
Understand challenges facing today's retirees.
They tell us what their wishes and their goals are. We create the plan.
Tune into The Truth About Money, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KTAR News.
Bad driving habits are hard to break, but good driving habits are easy to form, especially when they can lead to a discount on your auto insurance. With Farm Bureau Financial Services, the safer you drive, the more you save. Drivers like you are saving an average of $321 per vehicle. So buckle up, learn more, and find an agent at fbfs.com/save. Individual savings results may vary. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
KTAR Breaking News Alert.
This just into the KTAR News Center. The White House is demanding Iran reopen the Strait of Hormuz immediately after Iran says it closed the waterway over continuing Israel attacks on Lebanon. President Donald Trump told PBS NewsHour Lebanon was not included in the deal because of the Lebanese militant Hezbollah group. When asked about Israel's latest strikes, he said that's a separate skirmish. Meanwhile, the White House says VP J.D. Vance will lead the U.S. negotiating team in talks aimed at finding a permanent end to the war. Get breaking news notifications right to your phone by downloading the KTAR News app. And for more, go to KTAR.com.
Iran begged for this ceasefire, and we all know it.
The U.S. and Iran have agreed to that 2-week ceasefire, and today Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Operation Epic Fury accomplished all of its primary objectives and decimated Iran's military capabilities for years to come.
You see, in less than 40 days, using less than 10% of America's total combat power, dismantled one of the world's largest militaries. The world's leading state sponsor of terrorism proved utterly incapable of defending itself, its people, or its territory.
The agreement comes just before yesterday's deadline set by President Trump, who warned he would end a civilization if Iran didn't comply. And the 2-week ceasefire with Iran relies on the country's willingness to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. KTAR political analyst Mike O'Neill tells Arizona's Evening News, while there is a ceasefire, there's still no communication.
We've got agreements written in 2 different languages that don't in any way speak to one another.
He says he's waiting to see how both countries respond in the next few days before determining if peace will last. You can catch the full interview with Mike O'Neill at KTAR.com. An Arizona senator and a candidate for governor both weighing in on President Trump's 2-week delay on bombing Iran.
Speaking to MS Now, Arizona Democratic Senator Mark Kelly says the current closure of the Strait of Hormuz is a massive miscalculation for the president.
This president has to get back to where we were before. I don't want to see our ships being charged $2 million every time they go through. We're having to escort them to keep them safe.
Just as the news broke of the delay, David Schweikert, Arizona congressman and Republican candidate for governor, was joining Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos. He said of the chance the negotiations could lead to the war's end.
I pray it will. Victory, I believe, is the inability to produce a thermonuclear weapon. Okay? Now, does 2 weeks get us to the spot where oil starts moving again?
Brandon King, KTAR News.
KTAR News. Water Watch.
The Central Arizona Project is looking into purchasing desalination water, but they need to figure out an exchange credit system first.
Desalination is the process of taking ocean water and removing the salt. CAP Assistant General Manager over Water Policy Patrick Dent says they were in talks with Mexico, but that project has since stalled.
The most active thing that we had participated in, I'll say recent years, is as part of our conversations with Mexico, looking at a desalination option in the Sea of Cortez.
There's also a desalination plant in Carlsbad CAP could eventually purchase water from, but need to figure out a water exchange credit system first. Heidi Hommel, KTAR News.
You can read more water news at KTAR.com. And let's check on the roads and traffic from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. There's a new crash and surprise on Bell Road west of Bullard Avenue. And watch for heavy slowing from a crash with injuries in Scottsdale at Via Linda East on 90th Street. That's going to be this traffic update is brought to you by Schwartz Laser Eye Center. Suns fans get $1,000 off LASIK at Schwartz Laser Eye Center when you book your exam by April 12th. Restrictions apply. Visit teameye.com today. Sunny skies for your Wednesday, a high of 97. Tomorrow and Friday, mostly sunny, highs in the mid-90s. It's 80 degrees right now in Scottsdale. A perfect day to find your next home. See homes 1 to 4 days before MLS or Zillow at seehomesfirst.com. I'm Patricia Valencia on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Strong values, strong opinions. The Mike Broomhead Show. KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
So I got some validation about this earlier this morning. We talked about this, that in Maryvale, the Maryvale High School was shut down because somebody intruded on the campus. I think the person had some kind of maybe a mental health issue or a drug issue or a combination of the two. Jumped on the roof of the high school and wouldn't come down. The police had to talk him down. He had hurt himself, self-inflicted wounds that weren't life-threatening, but obviously a dangerous situation at the school. And it motivated a conversation about school resource officers, SROs. So I got, right after the segment this morning, Patricia, which I questioned, why would a school district not want SROs if they're available and the superintendent of public schools made money available to pay them? It's not coming out of your general fund. Why would a district be against it unless they're anti-cop? So I'm not going to say what city, but I got a text message from the chief of a neighboring city, of a valley city, I should say. Not necessarily neighboring, but valley city. And he said to me, we've had SROs in all of our schools, and the program is fabulous, and everybody loves them. It is a ridiculous idea. This goes back to a defund the police mentality. And I think the Phoenix Union High School District is really doing a disservice. And one of the things they've had to do because of a drop-off in enrollment in a lot of districts, and to the credit of the Phoenix Union High School District, they've actually done some advertising. And they've gone out and said, we've got plenty of schools that will suit your child's needs. Pick one of our schools, send your child here. But there is a sentiment on members of that board, not all of them, but significant numbers of members on that board that are defund the police. They do not like the police. I think that's a contradiction to what the parents in the district would want. Would you contemplate not sending your child to a high school that doesn't have an SRO?
Yeah, I feel safer. I mean, if there wasn't one, I'd have to deal with it. I don't know if I would take her out of school and go that far.
But would you
advocate for one.
Okay.
For sure.
Yeah, because I know you're involved in PTO.
And they do have an SRO at her school. And I feel comfortable it's there. And I don't know if it's maybe shared by a fellow school that's nearby, but I always see that police officer parked in between the two schools or somewhere around, and it always makes me feel more comfortable. I feel like maybe people that are driving down will maybe slow down because they realize that there's a school nearby.
Right.
I don't know. I just feel like it's a little safer.
And it also, and I think for people that are anti-cop, and again, not everybody is, but we know just statements that have been made at meetings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you know this, but one of the members, and I think it was the chair, but I'm not sure, one of the members of the school board, the Phoenix Union High School board, not too long ago, like within the last year or two, made a statement at a board meeting that there will never be any effing police on our campuses, or there won't be any police on our effing, but the F-bomb was dropped. It was a defiant statement that they don't want the cops. That doesn't resonate with the rest of the district. With the parents in that district.
Yeah, I don't think it follows suit with what everybody wants.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Teachers need to feel safe. One of the reasons that we talk about the teacher shortage. Lack of discipline is one of the key reasons why teachers leave the profession. And when people say that it's only pay, I remind everybody, charter school teachers and private school teachers, generally speaking, make less money than public school teachers. That doesn't mean public school teachers shouldn't be paid more. I'm saying teachers at these other high-performing schools are making less money. So it's not just money that's the reason they leave. If the administration is not backing up the play of the teachers, you know what I mean? If the teachers can't discipline students, I don't know how it was for you, but for us, when I was in school, getting sent to the principal was scary.
Oh, yeah. I had 3 principals at my high school.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was scary.
I've mentioned him often because I have such a love for this guy. His name is Bill Gettys. Mr. Gettys was our dean of students. And I told you the story. He's the one that asked me to leave high school. But the guy loved me, and he loved all of us. And I'm shocked at how many – the guy spent 40 or 50 years, I think, in education and still remembers almost everyone by name. You know what I mean? He just is that – it was that engaged. Yeah, one of those people. But he terrified us. He drove around in a golf cart. He was kind of a short, kind of heavy-set guy, but could run like Forrest Gump. I'm not kidding.
You had to run after your kids.
Yes, and he would chase us down. But we were terrified of him. Being sent to his office was traumatizing, and it should be. It shouldn't be, and the joke, especially in elementary school, is if you send a kid to the office, they come back 15 minutes later with a juice box and a snack. The office should, it's like, I don't know if you do this. I don't know if your kids are more afraid of you or of your boyfriend, but wait till your dad gets home, as every kid knows, that's a terrifying thing for a kid to hear. Wait till your dad gets home.
I'm always like, I'm going to tell your dad.
Right.
That's how I grew up too.
Right.
Yeah. My mom would say, wait till your dad gets home. When both of my parents are out of town, my grandparents would say, I'm going to call daddy. I'm going to call daddy.
Right.
Well, now I just shoot him a text.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look what your father said. Yeah. Better behave.
Yeah. And do you pull the your son or your daughter thing?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
So when
he
they
does
do
it to me too.
So
He's
when
like,
they,
that's your son.
Okay, yeah. When they do something wrong, it's your child, not mine.
When she's spectacular,
yeah.
it's
my
mine.
my child got on the dean's list. My child got straight A's. Your daughter.
Your daughter didn't clean her room.
But the partnership that works in a relationship, all joking aside, is that you guys support each other when it comes to discipline.
Right.
If you call dad backs your play. You may have conversations behind closed doors that are none of their business, but you're a unified front that you are not going to misbehave in this house. Mm-hmm. It should be the same thing in a school.
And, also for the teachers, I would feel like they feel more safe that if something does go down, they're going to have somebody that's going to back them up and help them out.
I have seen, and I've been sent them, and I save them in case anybody ever calls me out for them. I have them somewhere. I'm going to find them. But I've been sent videos of brawls on campus, on high school campuses.
In classrooms.
I've been sent pictures of bags of drugs that were obviously not just somebody's personal use, that drug dealing was going on in schools, knives, Guns have been confiscated. Now, so I'm not trying to give the impression that all of our schools are dangerous places, but you need to have someone there for when it does go sideways. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. They need somebody there in case, what if you're a teacher panicking? You don't know what to do. You never know.
And the other part of it is when I was a young kid, I may have said this on the air. When I was a young kid, a little young boy, I was probably 11, maybe 12, but probably closer to 11. I was in my front yard in the evening, and there was a bully that lived in the neighborhood. I'll never forget this guy. His name was Vaughn, and he was just a bully. And he rode by on his bicycle, and for whatever reason, he decided to jump off his bike. He ran into my yard and beat me up. Now, he was about a 16-year-old kid. He beat me up in my front yard. So my parents called the sheriff's department. Sheriff's department came over. The deputy's name, now this would have been 1978, 79 at the latest. That's how long ago this was. The deputy's name was Deputy Zarimphian. I'll never forget that guy.
How can you forget that name?
But he came over. He listened to me. He went and arrested that kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there was a rapport that was built that this guy said, I will protect you. When you're in a school setting, if you're a kid that gets bullied, if there's drug dealing going on, if there's whatever, knowing that you can go to the school resource officer, it builds a rapport that we all want kids to have with the police.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cops don't want you saying to your kids, if you're in public, if you say to your kids, you better be good or that cop's going to take you to jail. Cops are like, don't tell your kids that. We are going to take people to jail when we have to, but we want them to feel comfortable with us. And those situations, which is I also think part of it in the Phoenix Union High School District for some of the board members, they don't want a good rapport with the police. They don't like the police. And I just think it's wrong-headed, and I think it's dangerous. Ultimately, I think it's dangerous, and that's the bigger issue. Is that it's a dangerous thing for them to do. All right, coming up, we've got Did You Hear This? Let's talk Trajan Wealth for just a moment. What I love about them, and this is something all of you should consider, having your financial advisor, so your retirement, your tax, and your estate planning all under one roof. Usually when you go to one of those three, they refer you out for the others. So there really isn't a coordinated effort. It's just a referral. You get a business card. Go and talk to these people. But with Trajan Wealth, they are working together under one roof, which means it's coordinated. Building your wealth for retirement, a tax structure so you're paying as little as possible in taxes, and also making sure that your estate planning is all taken care of. 480-800-0100. That's 480-800-0100 or TrajanWealth.com, TRAJAN Wealth.com. Advisory service through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Additional services through Trajan Estate and Trajan Tax. I am an actual client. This is a paid advertisement. Additional disclosures at TrajanWealth.com.
Conflict in Iran.
The president is suggesting that negotiations are making headway. He says this 2-week period will allow for an agreement to be, quote, finalized and consummated. The reality is that while this ceasefire now buys time to negotiate, there is a lot to be worked out in the coming days.
We're covering the Iran situation on YouTube, on air, online, and on the KTAR News app.
Folks, your home is probably the biggest investment you're ever going to make. And when you're putting money into improvements, you don't hire the cheapest guy. You hire the right one. That's why I trust Trevec Remodeling and Roofing. These are my kind of people. They show up, tell the truth, and do the job right the first time. If you're ready for a whole home remodel or to finally tackle that kitchen or bathroom you've been dreaming about, Trevec has you covered. Their designers listen, they communicate, and they treat your home like it matters, because it does. And yes, they handle roofing too. I love companies that operate with integrity, and Trevec is one of them. Find Trevec Remodeling and Roofing at Trevec.com. That's TRAVEK.com. Ask about their complimentary remodeling seminars. Trevec, together, building dreams for 25 years.
The next remodeling seminar will be Tuesday, April 21st.
KTAR News Flash.
Coming up on 11:17, I'm Patricia Valencia. This is what you need to know right now. The White House is demanding Iran reopen the Strait of Hormuz immediately after Iran says it closed the waterway over continuing Israeli attacks on Lebanon. President Donald Trump told PBS NewsHour Lebanon was not included in the deal because of the Lebanese militant Hezbollah group. When asked about Israel's latest strikes, he said that's a separate skirmish. And a new food pyramid hopes to drive changes in American dietary culture, according to the U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He tells the Mike Broomhead Show they're working on to serve more whole foods on military bases. You can watch the exclusive interview on the KTAR YouTube channel. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app. Taking a look at Wall Street, all responding in the green. The Dow is up 1,333 points. S&P 500 is up 173 points. And the NASDAQ in the green, 673 points. For more money news, visit the Business Center at KTAR.com.
At Vital for Men, aging doesn't mean slowing down. Our testosterone therapy is built to boost your energy and sharpen your focus. Thousands of men have already leveled up their sleep, stamina, and drive. Now it's your turn. We're adding semaglutide to support your full health journey. Plus, we accept most insurance. Start with a free test today. Visit vital4men.com. That's vital, the number 4, men.com. Vital for Men. Get back to you.
Home buyers, hear this. Do not get a traditional mortgage. Did you know a $500,000 mortgage at 5.5% will still cost you over $1 million? That's insane. On a Life Changer loan, you can do your banking inside your mortgage and pay off in just a few short years and keep access to your equity. It's faster, cheaper, smarter, more flexible, and totally addictive. It's not magic, it's just math. So check us out at lifechangerloan.com. That's lifechangerloan.com.
Arizona Mortgage Broker number MB1002031, NMLS number 1863775. Life Changer Loan Corp is an equal housing lender.
Golden Crest Metals helps investors understand how physical gold and silver can be held inside qualified retirement accounts without pressure or confusion. Our team brings decades of experience in precious metals and retirement planning with a focus on clear education, straightforward pricing, and a process designed to put clients first. Why do investors choose Golden Crest Metals? Experience, transparency, and a client-first approach. Tune into The Gold Show with Kenny Michaels every Saturday at 2 p.m.
Hi, I'm Sherry with LifeSource Water. Every day begins and ends with water. It's in your coffee, your child's bath, the glass on your nightstand. It's the one thing your family uses constantly, yet most people never question it. A LifeSource whole house system treats every drop of your water, giving your family clean, conditioned water from every tap. Don't miss our free installation special. Call our local factory at 1-800-WATER-99 or visit lifesourcewater.com. Offer ends this month.
Warranty limitations apply.
Strong values, strong opinions. The Mike Broomhead Show. KTAR News 92.3 and the KTAR News app.
All right, here's where Patricia catches us up on the headlines. We call it, Did You Hear This?
Did you hear this? Broomhead reacts to today's hottest news stories.
All right, so we got a 2-week pause on bombing Iran, subject to Iran reopening the Strait of Hormuz. We know that it's like teetering back and forth right now as we speak. That announcement from President Trump yesterday, Republican Congressman David Schweiker tells Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos, this may be where the crisis starts to unwind.
This is a really dangerous place in the world. You prefer not to create another couple generations of hatred.
So what do you think about the deal, and will it really start to unwind here, especially after what we've seen this morning?
Yeah, I think that they don't have any choice. I think they're going to try to save face, and that's what they're doing right now with their own people, because there's two things they have to worry about. One is the war with the U.S., that if the U.S. starts strikes again, that they really have no way to stop the U.S. from doing anything. But the second thing is that they don't want the people rising up and kicking them out. And that's one of the things they're worried about. And one of the things we hope that happens, that regime change happens from within, that the Iranian people rise up against their government and realize they're toothless tigers. So this may be a ploy in both ways, where the state TV says we're shutting this down, which we now have confirmed they've said. But if you look at what's happening, the stock market has not responded by pulling back. The oil prices remain immensely low compared to where they were yesterday. And they are now saying they have to open the strait immediately. So I think this is going to lead to more negotiation. It's still scheduled for this weekend. The vice president's going to lead the way. So I think this is going to be more of a glitch than anything else. At least that's the way it appears. But we know that they lied to us in the past. Trust but verify is what Reagan used to always say. You got to definitely verify and double verify with these guys.
And which of Arizona's U.S. senators would be a better choice as a presidential candidate? Following fellow Democrat, Congressman Greg Stanton tells the AZ Political Podcast with Jim Sharp he's not quite ready to think about that just yet.
Both of them have been outstanding senators representing the state of Arizona. But here's the thing. Neither of them are on the ballot in 2026.
Now, I know you probably don't want to think about a Dem candidate for president at all, but who do you think would make the better run for presidential candidate from Arizona, Gallego or Kelly, and why?
Without a doubt, in my mind, Gallego. And here's why. Senator Gallego has been willing to come on this show, and it's not about the show, but it's about having the conversations. Senator Gallego has also talked about working across the aisle where it's prudent. He has been complimentary at times of Republicans. Now, again, I don't agree politically with Senator Gallego, but he has always been willing to have conversations that Senator Kelly just quite frankly won't have. And when Senator Kelly goes out and talks about this being a strategic failure in Iran, with as a military member he knows is absolutely not true. When Senator Kelly makes a video and says you should disobey illegal orders, when those things are happening, you are so party-centric that you're not going to be able to reach the same voters in the middle as I think a Senator Gallego could. That's just my outsider's opinion on it. But I think that, and that does scare me a little bit, that if Gallego were the candidate, he'd have a much better opportunity of reaching that huge number of independent voters in Arizona and across the country. So as far as being a better candidate and a better chance to win, I personally think Gallego would have a better chance than Kelly of winning a general election. Not necessarily a primary, but a general election. You are listening to Did You Hear This? Every day at this time to catch you up on headlines.
And ChatGPT is being sued by the family of one of the victims of a mass shooting. 2 people died in last year's shooting on the campus of Florida State University. And the family of victim Robert Morales says the ChatGPT bot was used by the suspect prior to the shooting. ABC News legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer says that the suit, a prior legal win against social media platforms, could lead to legislation and regulations.
This could, in essence, affect the way ChatGPT and other AI bots operate and say, hey, we need to either have warnings about people who are researching how to kill your husband, how to do a mass shooting or something like that. We might need to have a warning system where this gets connected to law enforcement going forward, so we're not liable for individuals researching things that could be criminal in nature.
Is this one of the instances where ChatGPT is to blame? What are your thoughts on this case like this? Should ChatGPT be liable?
I don't know that they can be liable because you can't foresee what somebody's going to do. If you look, it's like saying video games can be guilty for someone that acts out and does crazy things because of the violent video games. There are literally billions of people that play video games that aren't violent. It does trigger some people. But what I think it does is it motivates legislation. We've talked about this so many times, and I want to give credit again, as I always do, to my friend Christine Jones, who's been on the show. When she was the chief counsel for GoDaddy, legislation always lags behind technology. They are always trying to play catch up. So yes, legislation needs to change, but holding a company financially responsible for something they couldn't necessarily foresee, I think that's a big hill to climb. So I don't know that that's going to happen, but hopefully they'll make changes and these things don't happen in the future.
And finally, the crew on board the capsule for NASA's Artemis 2 mission, they start their day with the music playlist every day. And today, they started with this one because they are under pressure. This is Queen, of course, and David Bowie. It was the choice for today. The crew is in the home stretch of the mission and are heading back to Earth. The weather looks good for a splashdown in the Pacific Ocean on Friday. I know you're not as big a space nerd as I am, but I do know you love your music.
Yep.
So what song would you pick to crash into Earth to?
Oh, my gosh. Well, obviously, the easy one here is if you're going to do something, you've got to get something from Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
Yes.
Just anything off that album.
It's a given,
that would
right?
be the album. If it was going to be the album that they would go to for a playlist, it would have to be something off of Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd.
I like that one.
Trying to think of what some of the others might be. Oh my gosh, what was the Earth Control to Major Tom?
Oh, yes. Earth Control to Main.
Yeah.
What's the song called?
Yes. I'm drawing a blank, too.
Space Oddity.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
I
Thank you,
think
Paul.
those would be two. Unfortunately, the way it ended, but I still think, one of those would be a good one.
Fun
Or
stuff.
how about Space Cowboy by
Look at
Steve
you.
Miller Band?
I love it.
Some people call me the Space Cowboy. Some call me the
people.
Gangster of Love. But some people just call me Maurice.
What? Woo! I can't do that little whistle, but there you go.
Yeah, there you have it.
Fun time.
Yeah, you know what?
My last whoosh.
I am not I am not as emphatic. I'm not as fanatical as you are about this.
Yes.
But there's no way you can look at the pictures they've already sent back and not be blown away.
They're amazing.
Yeah.
I look at them all the time.
It is. I do too. Once I didn't seek them out, but when I saw them, I thought, oh my gosh.
When they named the crater after the astronaut's wife.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. This whole Artemis 2 has been amazing, and I hope they get home safely.
Yeah, I do too. And I think that what it does also is it's one of those things that's kind of a unifier and it brings
Right.
people together.
It's
and
the feel-good story
and
right
what's
now.
kind of cool is now they're expecting that the capsule, when they land, is going to be somewhere off the coast of San Diego.
Yeah.
So that should be incredible to see all of that.
Oh, good times.
All
Friday.
right, we have an update of what's going on in the Middle East. Of course, there is now a new wrinkle in all of this as they are shutting down the strait. The White House has responded. What happens next? That's what we talk about next.
Outspoken with Bruce and Gatos.
Arizona Congressman David Schweikert. We're getting some breaking news.
Okay, shoot.
President Trump has agreed to suspend bombing of Iran for 2 weeks. Do you think a 2-week suspension of bombing in Iran is going to end this war, Congressman?
I pray it will.
Aren't we just 2 weeks away from him going on Twitter again and saying a whole civilization will die tonight? I'm going to give you another deadline.
I think this becomes a potentially face-saving way for all parties to unwind this.
Outspoken, weekday afternoons 2 till 6. Watch Outspoken on the KTAR YouTube channel and listen on 92.3, KTAR.com, and the KTAR News app.
Hey, it's Jim Sharp. Are you struggling with distance vision and now you need readers? K2 Vision RLE has a live webinar this Thursday at noon where Doctors Kopstein and King will explain how refractive lens exchange is different from LASIK and EVO ICL. Why no cataracts after K2 Vision RLE? Who's a good candidate? And more. Join the free webinar this Thursday at noon. Register at K2VisionRLE.com. K2 Vision RLE. No readers, glasses, contacts, or cataracts.
Such a blow to investors. Whether you're a big trader or whether you have a 401k.
Life can be complicated. Planning for retirement doesn't have to be.
So what we're looking at here is a plan and a strategy that guarantees the retirement income, but it doesn't give up that growth for safety.
Learn tips and tricks to help you move forward.
That's not always debt. And when you have the money to pay it off, it's called leveraging.
Tune in to The Parker Holland Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. right here on KTAR News.
What are you doing every day to support your liver? If you enjoy sweets, fast food, alcohol, or take any medications, that's a vital question to ask. Hi, I'm Sherry Torkas, pharmacist and health author. For over 30 years, I've helped people make informed decisions about their health, especially concerning prevention and long-term wellness. Supporting your liver isn't just a wellness trend, it's a daily essential. That's why I recommend Active Liver by New Nordic. It's made with plant-based ingredients like milk thistle, turmeric, and globe artichoke, herbs clinically studied for their protective and restorative effects on the liver. Active Liver blends traditional herbal wisdom with modern scientific research. Not all supplements are created equal. I trust Active Liver because it's backed by science, meets strict quality standards, and delivers true daily liver support.
Active Liver is available online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com, or you can find it in stores at CVS, Meijer Grocery, Wegmans, and now Active Liver is available at your local GNC.
Today's letter is A. A is for affordability. A is for attainable, accessible, and adding a Toyota to your driveway. For afternoon errands, AM commutes, and adventures across the valley. For carpools and coffee runs, weekend plans, and all the miles ahead. Across the lineup, these are the A's that add up. Toyota, the A in affordability. Right now, get 4.99% for 72 months on a new 2026 Camry or Corolla. Or get 2.99% APR financing for 72 months on Tundra. Or 3.99% for 60 months on Tacoma. See your Valley Toyota dealer today. Toyota. Let's go places. 4.99% financing with 1887 for 1,000 bar for 60 months. 2.99% financing with 1519 for 1,000 bar for 72 months. 3.99% financing with 1841 for 1,000 bar for 60 months. Zero down payment if you qualify. Offers exclude TRD Pro models and N5426. See dealer for details.
Before Arizona heat turns unbearable, get your AC ready with Ace Cooling, Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical. Whether you need an AC tune-up, fast repair, or a new energy-efficient system, Ace helps keep your home cool, comfortable, and efficient all summer long. Beat the rush. Call Ace today at 602-536-4475 for free estimates and expert service. That's 602-536-4475. Or visit us online at acehomeaz.com. Acing Arizona's comfort needs since '94.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. After suffering an injury, you may face many hard questions. What will tomorrow bring? Which firm should I choose to represent me and my family? At Morgan & Morgan, we will hold your hand every step of the way. From our one-click sign-up, mobile apps, and 24/7 availability, we make it easy to get your case started right from the comfort of your couch. All firms are not the same. The choice is easy. Morgan & Morgan, for the people. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
With Farm Bureau Financial Services, the safer you drive, the more you save. Drivers like you are saving an average of $321 per vehicle. Learn more at fbfs.com/save. Individual savings results may vary. Farm Bureau Property and Casualty Insurance Company, Western Agricultural Insurance Company.
KTAR News now.
Good morning. Coming up on 11:33, I'm Patricia Valencia.
A capital V military victory.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is celebrating a 2-week ceasefire agreement in Iran following what he's calling a complete and total military victory.
The agreement comes as the clock ticked down toward yesterday's deadline imposed by President Trump, where he promised to wipe out a civilization if an agreement wasn't made. While both sides are posturing over who gave in to whose demands, Secretary Hegseth says it was the military might of the U.S. that was able to force Iran into negotiations.
Iran ultimately understood their ability, their future, to produce, to generate power, to fuel their terrorist regime was in our hands, was in President Trump's hands. That's why they came to the table.
Hegseth adds Operation Epic Fury achieved all of its objectives despite only using a fraction of the country's total military power. Colton Krolak, KTAR News.
And oil and gas prices are dropping following news that the U.S. and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire. ABC News' Rebecca Jarvis has more.
The national average for a gallon of gas is $4.17. Analysts believe pump prices could start reversing nationally in the next 48 hours by a few cents every day if prices hold here. Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan estimates that we see pump prices below $4 within 2 weeks. The most important question going forward, however, is to what extent does shipping via that Strait of Hormuz pick up in the coming days?
Once this warehouse is operational as a prison, it'll be almost impossible to stop.
In surprise last night, another city council meeting had dozens of residents speaking out against the Dysart Road ICE facility, which is set to open in the fall. Ann Benteen called the council's recent meetings with the Department of Homeland Security an insult to the city and its residents.
Discussions with DHS seems to have centered around mitigation of harm that would be caused by the presence of a president's surprise, which begs the question, what actual good will the facility bring to the city?
Councilman Chris Judd proposed action against ICE before the meeting went into private executive session. It would be discussed at the council's next meeting in 2 weeks.
A KTAR News exclusive.
Changes to the new food pyramid hope to drive changes in military dietary culture. That's according to U.S. Health and Human Service Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
RFK Jr. is in Phoenix this week on his Take Back Your Health tour. Kennedy tells the Mike Broomhead Show new American dietary guidelines prioritize whole foods like fruits, vegetables, and protein over carbohydrates and processed foods. He explains the USDA's new rule.
Anybody, any retailer, the thousands of retailers in this country that accept food stamps, they all have to double the amount of real food in their facilities.
He says the new food guidelines aim to cut down on chronic illness and obesity, as 70% of American adults are obese or overweight. Heidi Hommel, KTAR News.
Now for a check on traffic from the Valley Chevy Dealers Traffic Center. There's a new crash in Peoria, 91st Avenue and Grand Avenue, and a crash in North Phoenix, at Cave Creek south of Union Hills. This traffic update is brought to you by AMCO Arizona. If your AC isn't ice cold, get a free AC check at AMCO. It'll even check your fluids and filters so you're ready for summer. Google AMCO to find your nearest location today. Sunny skies and a high of 97. Tomorrow and Friday, mostly sunny as well. Highs in the mid-90s. It's 85 degrees right now in Mesa. Perfect day to find your next home. See homes 1 to 4 days before MLS or Zillow at seehomesfirst.com. I'm Patricia Valencia on Arizona's news station, KTAR News.
Hey, Joe Huizenga. Forecasters are predicting a possible super El Nino this summer. What's that mean for Arizona? Find out tonight on Arizona's Evening News. Watch Becky Lynn and me on the KTAR YouTube channel. Listen on air, online, and the KTAR app.
Okay, earlier this morning, news broke that the ceasefire continues, but the the Iranians have said they are shutting down the Strait of Hormuz because the Israelis continue their attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon. The White House came out and said you've got to immediately reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and that the Lebanon was not a part of the original agreement, that it's a completely different skirmish. And so right now we know that the Israelis have been supportive in this regard, that the Israelis have agreed to a ceasefire in Iran. So how will this be worked out? Because the diplomacy continues. And just to show, I thought if this was going to be something that threatened the deal, and we would know that if it were threatening the deal, that we would watch the stock market pull back, which is having a fantastic day right now. The Dow is up 2.6%. The S&P is up 2.35%. And the NASDAQ is up 2 3/4 points. Brent crude oil is trading at below $96 a barrel, which is a huge drop. But WTI, West Texas Intermediate, which was trading yesterday, I believe, at somewhere near $116 per barrel, is down below 75. Although we have seen the prices tick up in the last hour, they have not skyrocketed as if this deal is in jeopardy. So that's good news so far. We'll see how the day plays out. We'll see what's happening moving forward, because there is a negotiation that is going to happen this weekend, I believe, in Pakistan, and the U.S. envoy will be led by the vice president. So these are the highest level talks that are going on, and we'll see how the Iranians respond. It's my belief that the Iranians are caught in a very bad position. Decimating that country any further is going to be worse for the regime and for the Iranian people. But they also have got to save face in a way and show that they are still in control of the country. Part of that would be that they have said they control the strait, which, by the way, they want as part of their demands to be that they have control of the Strait of Hormuz. That's not going to happen. Not only do we not have a right to allow them to do that, it violates international law. That shutting down what is public waters, international waters, is against international law. The world's not going to stand for it. The world's not going to pay a bounty to have their ships go through the strait. It's not going to happen. So how do they save face? Well, they save face by standing up and saying we are doing this or we are doing that. It's my hope, and we'll see if it happens. Will the Israelis come to the table and say, okay, under certain conditions for this 2-week period, we will also stop the attacks against Hezbollah in Lebanon? But the agreement has to be that Hezbollah doesn't attack us, number one. That's first and foremost. But they are not going to start restockpiling and trying to build back up so that in 2 weeks we are further behind from where we are trying to decimate their capabilities. Will they come to the table and do that? We'll see. We will see what happens in the coming days. This agreement, where there is going to be a meeting that I believe takes place on Saturday, is going to be the cornerstone of what happens moving forward. The President of the United States said he believes that this is going to lead to great things in the Middle East. As a matter of fact, I want to read the headline, if I can find it in the stack, that he said he believes the golden age of the Middle East is at hand. I don't think that anybody in the world would like to see, if not peace, because peace is a very strong word, see a permanent ceasefire, because the other nations in the region seem to be anxious to get on with commerce. And it's one of the things that nations, democratic nations, don't usually make war against each other. And if you have the UAE and you have other states, Gulf states, lining up and saying, we don't want war anymore. We don't want to see the Iranian regime, who has said for 47 years that their express goal is a part of their goal as a nation is to annihilate the Zionist state, to kill the Israelis, to not just push Jews off of the land, but to kill the Zionist state. That is their express goal of the previous regime. Are we going to see regime change and a difference? Because the Persian people, the Iranian people, are much different than their government. Part of this liberation of this country is giving the Iranians the ability to come in and take over their government. Well, there still is, the IRGC is still strong. They still have ground troops there. Do we take away their ability because they have shown a propensity for violence? We know that they are more than willing to murder their own people. 40,000 protesters have been murdered because they protested. The world should be waking up to that. The world should be now demanding that the strait is open. This would be the time, because the Secretary of State said when this is all over, the United States is going to have to take a long look and rethink its relationship and its involvement with NATO. Now, I will tell you that peace in that part of the world, Europe, and is contingent on NATO staying together. If you look at the lack of capability, and this is not an insult, this is just the lack of capability of some of the European nations and the dependence they have on U.S. bases and U.S. protection, for them not to step up and say, we are joining you, is not a good look. The fact that we are seeing the French and the South Koreans joining forces saying we'll do what's necessary to open the strait, UAE saying they are willing to join a fight, those are good signs that the world is lining up. But the NATO countries themselves specifically should be standing up and saying to the Iranians, we stayed out of the conflict. We didn't join the U.S. in the bombings in your country. We didn't join Israel in the bombings in your country. We stayed out of it, much to the anger of our ally, the U.S. But what we're not going to do is we are not going to sit back and watch you take the world economy hostage by shutting down that strait. And I hope that message is sent loud and clear. Coming up in a moment, we're going to do what we do every day to close out the show. We are going to have our story roundup. We're going to get to that coming up here in just a moment. I want to remind you that through the rest of the month, our friends at Tombstone Tactical are taking great care of their customers. Everything in the store, and listen to these manufacturers. If you're familiar with firearms, these are some of the best in the industry. Staccato, Mossberg, Trijicon Optics. Those three manufacturers, they are going to have everything they have on sale for the rest of the month. This is one of the advantages to being a customer at Tombstone Tactical. They have such great relationships in the industry. It is, of course, with their customers because they have, 90-day same as cash plans. They have financing options. They trade. They also buy firearms. If you're looking to upgrade a setup, they do all of these things, and they do it so very, very well. Do yourself a favor. If you want to do some spring cleaning and get a brand new setup, now's the time to get to Tombstone Tactical and do it because they're offering such great deals on these major manufacturers. Located on the southbound frontage road of the I-17 between Peoria and Dunlap. Can't miss them. Or find them online right now at tombstonetactical.com.
The KTAR News app, your link to live streaming audio, breaking news, podcasts, in-depth coverage of the stories that are important to you. Download the KTAR News app, and you're always in touch with Arizona's news station. The KTAR News app, presented by America Roofing.
What if you had to skip breakfast and lunch and dinner? At St. Mary's Food Bank, that's a reality for many of our neighbors in need. 250,000 people rely on the food bank every day. Your donations are what makes feeding them possible. Donate and get a dollar for dollar Arizona charitable tax credit, up to $495 for individuals and $987 for couples filing jointly. Learn more at stmarysfoodbank.org.
Sundays on KTAR News is the home for the #1 radio health talk show in America, The Dr. Bob Martin Show. Dr. Martin is a chiropractic physician, a board-certified clinical nutritionist, and a diplomate of the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. Got a health-related problem or challenge? Not feeling well and you just don't know where to turn or what to do? Dr. Bob Martin is here for you every Sunday from 10 to 11 a.m. The Dr. Bob Martin Show on KTAR News.
How was your break? It was great until I stopped for gas. Prices have gone up almost $1 with no end in sight. I might have to start watching how much I drive.
That's exactly why I use Upside. I never pay full price for gas with the free Upside app.
Upside?
Yes, Upside. It's the free app that gives you cash back just for buying the gas you're already buying. So, even with the rising gas prices, I'll never have to limit how much I drive.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Just last year, I made over $200 with the Upside app.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Upside app right now.
Download the free Upside app to earn cash back on the gas you're already buying. Use promo code THRIVE25 for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code THRIVE25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first fill-up. That's THRIVE25.
Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A multi-billion-dollar settlement is paying claims for up to 21 years. If you were exposed to weed killers at work or at home, your rights are affected. If you or your family has or had non-Hodgkin lymphoma, you could receive $6,000 to $165,000 or more. This settlement impacts you even if you're not sick, because this blood cancer can take 10 to 15 years to appear. If you stay in the settlement, you give up your right to sue. Learn more at weedkillerclass.com or call 888-403-8201. Paid for by the Roundup Settlement.
KTAR News Flash.
At 11:48, I'm Patricia Valencia. This is what you need to know right now. The White House is demanding Iran reopen the Strait of Hormuz immediately after Iran says it closed the waterway over continuing Israel attacks on Lebanon. President Donald Trump told PBS NewsHour Lebanon was not included in the deal because of the Lebanese militant Hezbollah group. When asked about Israelis' latest strikes, he said that's a separate skirmish. And the 4 astronauts aboard NASA's Orion spacecraft have broken free of the moon's gravity and are headed home. Artemis 2 crew will be testing out systems aboard the spacecraft, including compression garments meant to help astronauts maintain blood pressure and weightlessness. All of our top stories are just 15 minutes away. For more news, go to KTAR.com or the KTAR News app.
Tune into The Truth About Money with Bruce Weinstein and Tim Travis.
We hand select each and every security in the portfolio, as opposed to kind of the more cookie cutter approaches that a lot of the larger firms will take.
Understand challenges facing today's retirees.
They tell us what their wishes and their goals are. We create the plan.
Tune into The Truth About Money, Saturdays at 7 a.m. on KTAR News.
Hey, it's Gatos, and if your home has been looking a little tired lately, you're not alone. Sun fades the exterior, walls get scuffed, and suddenly everything could use a refresh. That's where Arizona Painting Company comes in. These folks are the real deal. They show up on time, they're meticulous, and they leave your home looking brand new. I know that. I just hired them, and they painted the inside of my house fantastic. Whether you need exterior work to stand up to our Arizona sun or interior update to brighten things up, they've got you covered. And right now they're offering 15% off your painting project when you mention Gatos. Big savings, especially when you're upgrading the look and feel of your home. Getting started is easy. Just text the word paint to 620-620. You'll get connected with the team at Arizona Painting Company, and they'll walk you through everything, starting with your free estimate. So if you're ready for that fresh start, choose Arizona Painting Company. Your home will thank you for it. Text paint to 620-620. And when you hire the Arizona Painting Company, you'll love watching paint dry.
Message and data rates may apply.
He's your Huckleberry. He's Mike Broomhead. And this is another story roundup.
Yes, it is.
What do you got?
I've got some good
Whip ya.
ones. I'm going to start with something I thought was very cool. I just happened to see this. It wasn't a part of the lineup, but I just printed it out. It's not available here because I checked, but check this out. Dolly Parton has something called the Dolly Parton Foundation.
Right.
And with that, she has the Imagination Library.
Yes.
Do you know about
this? Yeah, I do.
I didn't.
I worked in country music for a very long time. I
Okay.
talk about this all the time.
So and they don't offer it here, and I don't know what it takes to offer it in certain areas, but they have given out every month, they will send a children's book to your child every month from their birth through age 5. And it's always an age-appropriate book. They have given away 270 million books.
Yeah, a lot of books. I love the Dolly Parton Library.
Yeah, it's not it's not available here for whatever reason.
No, it's not.
But I don't know what it takes to make it available.
You can go online and check out the application.
Yeah.
But it's really easy to fill out.
Yeah.
Did it in New Mexico.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It's very, very cool. All right. I don't know what you guys are. You a prankster? Either of you like pranks?
My kids are.
Okay, they're pranksters.
I'm not
okay.
in for it.
I'm not.
I'm not a big prankster myself.
I'm not necessarily a big prankster either. But when there's a good one, it's kind of funny. So some people in British Columbia decided that what they were going to do is they were going to hang a Volkswagen off the side of a cliff.
Oh, that sounds good.
What a prank.
I know.
Yes. Well, so
simple thing.
When people go driving by, they think this
it's going to fall off.
is going to fall off a cliff,
Right.
like a car's falling off a cliff.
Gotcha.
Have you seen the Christmas light ones? I like that one.
Where the guy's like falling off
Yeah,
the
upside
yes,
down,
I
hanging
have
from the
seen
lights.
that.
See, I like those.
Yeah, those are fun.
Especially when people call the paramedics.
Or the
because-
ones like the slasher movies for Halloween in the garage,
Yeah.
and people are like
Yeah.
calling
Yeah.
like police on them.
This one is disturbing. Minneapolis is considering legalizing adult bathhouses and venues that allow sexual activity.
Is that like a brothel?
Yeah, I guess.
Is
4
that-
proposed ordinances would establish licensing, zoning, and health regulations for adult sex
Health
venues.
regulation.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Why? I mean, they can go to Vegas for that.
Yeah.
Where is this again? In Minnesota?
Yeah.
Man,
And I don't know that I know anybody from Minnesota I'd want to see naked.
I don't know if I want to go. Why do you want to go? Maybe that's why they're trying
I know
to get
I just
people
made
to get
somebody
there.
angry from Minnesota.
Tim Walz.
Yeah. All right, this one you may not have seen this, Paul, but I know that Patricia has. We both were seeing it today.
Hit
Have
me
you
with it.
seen the kids on the school bus yet?
No.
All right, so this happened in Sumter County, Florida, and I know where Sumterville is. I know that part of Florida.
Florida.
Yeah, of course it's Florida. This school bus driver, full-size school bus, drives through kind of the arms at a train crossing. And a third of the bus is on the railroad tracks. And there's a camera from a distance, so you don't see how close this train is. But the bus driver literally pulls forward. There's kids on the bus, 29 kids on the bus.
Wow.
The bus pulls forward in time where it just clipped the back of the bus, so it just shook the bus from side to side.
That's scary.
This bus driver is facing 29 felonies.
As she should.
And didn't she make an excuse? She made some kind of...
She had that there was a car in front of her, was waiting for it to move up, but there was a camera.
Yeah,
and can't lie.
You're supposed to stop.
This bus driver is facing
And then, how many?
29.
And then there's video from the inside.
Yeah.
I need to show you the video from the inside.
Yeah,
the
that's-
kids are like screaming and
More
panicking.
reason parents should drive their kids to
Yeah,
school.
Poor kids.
Walk to school, kids.
Yeah. Nothing good happens on the school bus.
I didn't like the school
I
bus.
remember my school bus days.
I got beat up on the school bus when I was in
I
middle
did. I had a
school.
bully on a school bus too.
You know?
Shout out to all the school bus drivers out there.
Yeah. Oof.
Make it
That's
good.
a horrible job.
Make it good for the kids
Yeah.
today,
That
please.
was, do what you can for the kids.
Don't get on the railroad tracks.
All right. Do you Easter egg hunt? Did you
Yes,
guys?
we did.
You did?
We did.
How many eggs?
105.
How many kids?
2.
What?
And one of them is 2.
No.
Yeah, Katie
Just your kids?
was looking forever. Yes.
100 eggs for just
It
your
was
kids?
just us.
Wow. Dedicated.
Man, you guys are parents of the year.
We just have fun. I mean, it wasn't that bad throwing eggs out there in the yard.
Okay. Long Beach, California. This story. A family did an Easter egg hunt, and there's an investigation going underway.
What?
Because it was near DeForest Park in the wetlands on Sunday afternoon. They did an Easter egg hunt with the kids, and they found a human skull.
Oh, my God.
So it was Halloween and Easter mixed together.
Wow.
So now there's an investigation. Due to the circumstances, the medical examiner is responding to the scene.
Wow.
Talk about traumatizing your
We'll
children.
find a ribcage next Easter.
Yeah, next year, let's find the rest of the skeleton. Could you imagine?
No, I cannot imagine.
Sending your kids out in a park to go on an Easter egg
The
hunt.
only thing I found in my yard was my slippers.
And if
Stupid dog.
If your son comes around the corner like he's found a soccer ball.
Hey, Mom, look at this.
Yeah. All right, we are out of time. Tomorrow morning, we pick up our conversation with Luke Lipinski. It is our Diamondbacks talk. It happens at 9:45. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 8:15. Have a great day, everybody. God bless.
Don't let tax refund worries hold you back. File now with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They'll find every credit and deduction to help you get every refund dollar you deserve, or your money back. Start filing today in the Credit Karma app.
Phoenix just had its hottest start to March on record, and summer hasn't even started yet. Before the real heat arrives, let Parker & Sons tune up your AC unit for just $89. Already a member? Your tune-up is already covered. Just one of the many perks that makes membership pay for itself. And here's our promise. If your unit breaks down this summer after we service it, we'll refund every penny. That's our no breakdown guarantee. Don't wait till it's 115 degrees and your AC gives out. Call or text 602-2-REPAIR to schedule.
5 years ago, I started as an apprentice, and now I'm a licensed electrician at the Resolution Mine. Every morning that I go down in the mine is still a thrill. The work is challenging, it pays well, and I like being part of the clean energy economy. EVs, solar panels, every new technology needs copper, and we can provide it right here.
Copper is essential to Arizona's economy and to America's future. Learn more at resolutioncopper.com.
KTAR-FM, Glendale, Phoenix.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance tech at a university, he knows ordering from multiple suppliers takes time away from keeping their arena up and running. That's why he counts on Grainger to get everything he needs, from lighting and HVAC parts to plumbing supplies, all in one place. And with fast, dependable delivery, he's stocked and ready for the next tip-off. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Tired of pool company gimmicks? Dolphin Pools is different. For 42 years, Arizona families have trusted Dolphin Pools. We're the Valley's #1 Google and Yelp rated pool builder, and now serving even more families with our new office in Surprise. Order today and swim this summer in the pool of your dreams. And with interest rates at their lowest in 3 years, there has never been a better time to start. Dolphin Pools, affordable luxury built to last. Visit dolphinpools.us.
Hi, I'm Faye Fredericks. When you want to know what's really happening in Arizona, join Javier Soto and me